Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. We're continuing our Earthrise month, and this time around we're taking a look at another one of the breakformers, as fans have called them. This is Airwave. Now, of course, Airwave was released in the Generation 1 era. He was a Micromaster battle station. So he was basically a little airplane and an airport. Of course, Airwave in this sense was the little Micromaster figure, and the airport became a missile base. And of course, to add further insult to injury, Airwave here was just basically a repaint of Night Flight from the Airstrike Patrol. So he wasn't really anything all that special. What made him special, though, was the way the airport was set up. The airport was the only one that had parts that would swivel. So you could reposition the airport runway and thus create different little roads and pathways for your Micromaster city. So as you can imagine, when we were growing up, that came in handy a few times. And of course, this is the modern Airwave. They've just combined, like for Ironworks, they've just combined the playset into a robot. So it does not have any Micromasters. And unfortunately, this time around, the Decepticons haven't gotten any flying Micromaster figures. So you'll have, if you want some of them, you will have to have purchased some from the Siege line. Now we'll get Airwave out of the way here. Plus, also, we should mention that this Airwave here has also been repainted on the Hasbro Pulse website to be a hothouse, an Autobot. That was also from the Micromaster Battle Station days, from the G1 time. At the present, I don't have that one, but I am looking into getting the new version. I do have the original, so, and we will review it at some point, probably next year. Now, since he's a breakformer, that means all the body, just about all of the body is a loose part. But before we do that, we will take a look at his articulation real quick. The head, of course, can turn, but it's rather difficult to do it with the way the shoulders are set up. The arms can spread out to a certain degree. They can spread out about so far when you shift some of their pieces out of the way. And their arms do rotate at the shoulders. But if you rotate it too much, it will fall off, just like you just saw there. His arm can be bent at the elbow, 90 degrees. The arm came off again. And he can swivel at the bicep. So Airwave does have some G.I. Joe battle grip. He can be turned at the hips, like so. And his legs can be spread apart into a full splits. Airwave can raise his leg up a little more than 90 degrees. And he can bend his leg at the knee 90 degrees. So he does have quite a range of motion, which of course dwarfs the original Micromaster by a considerable amount. Now, of course, to start transforming Airwave into some of the other components, we need to break him down into the different pieces. So we will slowly start to do that, and we can show you all the different pieces in the process. We'll start out, of course, with his left arm, since it likes to fall off on us. And then, of course, we have this black gun. Actually, there's two of the black guns, because the front of that thing also pops off, so they are exactly the same. They are exactly the same, so do bear that in mind if you're buying one loose. And then, of course, we have this larger black piece. Drop it out of my hands. And then we have the right arm. And then, of course, we have his torso, or the head and shoulders. Not to be confused with the shampoo. And then, of course, down here for the legs, we have a removable hip section, which does feature tank treads. And then, of course, we have his right and left legs. He does have quite a fair amount of loose parts there, folks, doesn't he? Now, of course, to fully have all these parts ready to go, we got to do a few things. Like for starters here, the left arm, we do have to adjust it a bit so that the two gray pieces here are connected, like that. They just basically, the piece at the shoulder has a post, and the piece on the forearm has a hole in the side, so you just connect them together just like that. And then they're ready. For the head and shoulders bit, you do have to rotate his head all the way around. And then you can fold it inside like so. And then it's ready. For the hips, you would wind up rotating them. As you can see right here at the top of the orange, there's some posts sticking out, and there's a long slot on the inside of the leg. So you would just rotate it upward and snap it into place. And then finally on the legs, along the sides of the legs, they should pop out free. And then you just fold it straight up, like that. And then we do that with the other leg. Go gentle on this. That way you don't break the posts that are holding the thing together. And there you have it. All the pieces are now ready to be connected. Now, unlike Ironworks, who came out earlier in the year, Hasbro didn't bother with making Airwave here a weaponizer, so there is no mode to connect him to another Transformer as a bunch of weapons. Take that as you may, folks. I know that's been a divisive opinion amongst the fandom for quite a while. Oh yeah, one other thing, we ought to rotate the right arm so that both posts are straight up like that. Now we can get started combining him. Alright, for starters, you take the hip piece. You have the treads facing downward. Then you will grab the head and shoulders, and you will attach the posts onto the holes here. You set it up so the head piece here is coming out right where these orange posts are, just like that. And then you will take this leg, the left leg. There's a hole in the bottom of the foot, and you will attach it to this tread right here. And then you do that with the opposite one. Just exactly like that. Then you'll get the left arm piece here, and you will snap them in at the ends. Just exactly like that. Need the pieces so we can set that down so we can see what we're doing. Once you've done that, you will take the two black guns, and then you can attach them here at the sides. Of course, the big black bulgy piece you can attach on top. Like that. Keep the big bulge up at the top so it looks like a control tower. Then they're going to have you raise up this front section here, because you will attach the right arm underneath it by the two posts, and then it's got two other posts sticking straight out. They just happen to line up with the holes at the back of the tread. So then you will just bring that down and lock them into place. It may pop the ramps loose a little, so just readjust as necessary. And there you have the airport in the long runways mode, which is supposed to be somewhat similar to this mode that the original could do. And it does make for a nice representation of this toy. It is considerably smaller, but you do get a longer runway. It's a nice way to set him up if you're not going to connect him up as part of the city. So you can see all of the ramp connection pieces are occupied, so you cannot connect a ramp to him. Unlike on the original, we still had room for a ramp on the end. Now, there is a way to make this guy be in one other alternate way. The long runway ramp. And we're going to show you how to do it, even though it's not as easy as this one. First thing we got to do is break this airwave back down into the pieces again. Alright, now let's say we want to do the side-to-side runway version, which is the version that will allow you to connect him to other toys. Well, for starters, we're going to start with the same two pieces again and do the same thing. Just like that. Now's when it starts to get fun. Now you're going to take the runway pieces. This time we got the right leg. And instead of connecting it by the base of the foot, we're going to connect it by the back of the foot. So you connect it that way to start forming the long runway. Then you will take the two arm pieces, and they get connected underneath like so. Really doesn't matter where either of them go. They're just connected so that their orange sticks out the back. And then you take the two black guns. You'll stick them in the same spot as they were on the other version, but this time they're pointing upwards. And then you add this piece in as your control tower. And there you would have it. He's in the long airport runway mode. Somewhat reminiscent to the Generation 1 version. But this time you now have two connection points at the opposite ends, so you can connect the Airwave into being part of the city by forming as a long runway platform. It's a nice little function, a nice and useful function, I will give it that. But he also does have one other mode. He does have an air defense mode, just like the original toy. And guess what we got to do to transform him into that? We got to break him down again. This is where the fun comes in. Okay, now comes the fun part. So this time we're going to start with the left arm. You'll turn it around, and then you're going to start by attaching the leg pieces via the ramps. Just exactly like this. They connect just like that. And then, once you've got that set up, you will fold the feet down like that. That way his feet are folded flat underneath. Then you will take the hip piece, and then you will connect it in here to help hold the ramps together. If need be, just do it one at a time, which I would recommend because it is a little easier to keep them from moving about on you. Now, once you have those all together like that, you are going to separate them. Right about there. So the long leg ramps do break apart into smaller ramp pieces. So keep that in mind, my viewers. Now, once you have separated them, you will turn it upside down. Nope, that's not how you do it. You will take this other piece Give me a second here. Something's not right. Sorry about that. Getting ahead of myself. Shift things a little bit so you can see better. Alright, you will take the torso piece. It has a couple of connection points here. And they will attach in like that. Then next, you will grab onto the piece you just removed. And you'll connect the holes from the bottom of the feet onto the top of it, like that. And then, of course, you'll take the large bulb piece. You'll fit it into the left hand. And you'll attach the two guns up here. Then you turn him around, you'll see there's an orange post that you will fold down. And then now you grab the arm. You want to situate it like so, and fold it up at the elbow. And then you attach it in from the hole onto the post. It may take a little effort. If need be, fold the post all the way down. That's before I drop the arm on the floor. That way you can hold it more securely to get it on. And then just bring it up. And then there you have it. He's a little rocket station. That you can sit down here and raise him up a little bit to act like he's aiming upwards. It's not quite as good as the originals. So I did like the fact that the original at least included a little hidden area for the Micromaster to stand in. So that he did have a blast shield to hide behind. But all in all, the new one does sort of capture the essence of what the original was going for. So I can't complain about it too much. It is a little bit of a pain to transform him a bit, but it's not too bad. So now we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of the Earthrise Airwave? Well, it's not bad. I do like the fact that they dropped the weaponizer gimmick with him. That was a good thing to do. We really didn't need the weaponizer gimmick. It's one that kind of overwore out its welcome in Siege a bit, because I know a lot of the fans really didn't like it. And it was kind of hard to picture Ironworks being one, when more of us probably wanted to see how to make it somewhat more closer to his G1 counterpart. So I am glad Hasbro went with that choice instead of a weaponizer mode. As for him being a break former, like most of the fans refer to them, it's obviously a gimmick that's here to stay, folks. I mean, I've already seen some of the lineup for Kingdom, and we're going to get guys that are weaponizers in Kingdom. The one nice thing about those guys is that they are going to be skeleton animals. So, it'll have a unique look to it. As for this one, well, I kind of like him a little bit better than how Ironworks turned out. But of course, I had the G1 version of Airwave as a child, so I may be a little biased on how this turns out, but I still do like how they did come up with a nice way to honor both versions of the airport and make it usable to be either as an independent playset or one to put in with your Transformer City. So, I can't complain too much about this one. At any rate, that's my review of the Earthrise version of Airwave. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you like this video, drop me a thumbs up here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button to join our ranks. Make sure you also ring that bell so you'll get notified when I post new content this month. I also ask that you share this video with your friends and fellow collectors. That's what helps this channel grow. And also, share your thoughts about Airwave in the comments down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.